when I heard millionaire Chris Philp saying this.
On working age benefits, they went up by 10%. In April of this year, they're going to go up by another, I think, 6 or 7%. In April, the national minimum wage has just gone up by was about to go up by around about 10%. There is no excuse at all for any kind of criminal activity, including shoplifting.
I thought, who is this lying toe rag?
You've also lied that we left negotiations on Saturday and went to a rally. There were no negotiations scheduled for Saturday. You are a liar.
He campaigned on keeping police stations open, and then the Tories closed 2/3 of all police stations in England. He also had a hand in the disastrous mini-budget. Not that he would admit it was most likely his idea.
You're his right-hand man. How involved were you in the decision to cut that top rate of tax?
Well, these decisions are made ultimately by the Prime Minister.
You're his right-hand man. How involved were you in the process?
Well, obviously they talked to me about these things.
And Mr Philp, how involved were you in the process?
Then there was his plan to get people to work for their measly job seekers allowance of £84.80, a proposal that was funded by a Tufton Street think tank, the Taxpayers Alliance. Now watch though, as this weasel believes it's okay to suspend Lee Anderson for saying something wrong, his words, but doesn't think it's appropriate to apply the same measures to Liz Truss.
Why is it that Number 10 Downing Street doesn't want anybody representing them to come on television and say that his comments were racist?
Because they've made very clear, the Prime Minister has, I think, been asked about this, and he's obviously the government's principal spokesman. He's made very clear that what Lee Anderson said was wrong. I think it merits an apology. He conflated Islamism, which is a form of extremism, with Muslims as a whole. And in fact, very often, Muslims are the victims themselves of Islamist extremism. And he's withdrawn, and critically, the Prime Minister withdrew the whip, right? He withdrew the whip almost immediately. That is a contrast to the dithering which we saw from Keir Starmer when he had that incident in Rochdale, when it took him days and days and days.
He's not withdrawn the whip from Liz Truss, though. He's not withdrawn the whip from Liz Truss. Should he?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't think she's done anything wrong.
I feel that Joe Biden needs to be kicked out of the White House.
Yeah.
I think that is vital for the future of the West. And I have worked in the cabinet under both the Trump presidency as Trade Secretary and the Biden Secretary as I was Foreign Secretary. And I'll tell you, I felt safer for the West when President Trump was in power.
There you are, a British Conservative saying nice things about President Trump. And you're right, he actually does stand up for genuine conservative values, and he likes our country. And I always think Biden rather loathes us.
She didn't step in when the person on the stage with her said that Tommy Robinson was a hero.
Yeah, well, he's clearly not. But I don't think you can attack someone for a sin of omission. And we don't know what the circumstances of that were.
She also criticised the Conservative Party and supported other parties, which is also against the rules.
Well, I haven't heard that quote. I mean, she's a Conservative.
And I'm sure she'll be campaigning as hard as the rest of us for a Conservative government to stop the Labour Party, who have clearly got no plan whatsoever from winning the next election.
Click here for another episode of Who is Chris Philp?